Hello to anyone watching this back. Hello. I have one person here right now. This is always the really awkward part of any live show where, you know, there's really no one here. It's just me. So hello, everyone, or the one person that's here. Today I'm doing a live reading sprint where I will be tidying up my TBR a little bit. So my TBR is around, my physical TBR this is around the 130-ish book mark. Hi Angela, hi Joanna. And I don't necessarily have a problem with there being that many books on my TBR, but a lot of those books have been languishing on my TBR for quite a long time now, actually, and I just have been recently questioning whether I will get to some of them. So if you saw my July TBR video, I decided to play a little TBR game and pick books using a dice roll from various lists, a couple of which were books that were the oldest on my TBR, as in had been on my TBR the longest, and thanks, Joanna. Yeah, I know, I have problems. And the other was books that I've just not been kind of prioritizing getting to. So one of those books was Surfacing by Nora Rayleigh Baskin, I think, and that was one of the books that ended up on my TBR for the month of July, and I picked it up early on in the month, and I read a few pages, and I quite quickly established that the book just was not going to be for me, and I DNF'd it like really super early on. Like I was maybe 20 pages into it. I'd read, I think, a few chapters, but I'd already known even after a few pages that it just wasn't going to work for me. And that was one of the books that I got in a box of books that I bought for a video that I did on my channel maybe around a year ago now, where it was just a box of 20, I think, completely random books, and I kept hold of the ones that I was interested in, and I donated many of the others. And it was a really cheap box. It was like £15 for however many books it was. So it just, you know, it wasn't breaking the bank or anything. It made for a fun video. I enjoyed filming it, but so many of those books are still on my physical TBR, and I just am not getting to them. And I'm not sure that I ever will. And there are other books that are like that on my TBR as well. So the idea behind this live show is to do some reading sprints to help you all with your reading on this Sunday evening where I am, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. Yeah, this is true. I do think that readathons do force you to kind of pick up the things that you might otherwise not have picked up on your TBR. So I'm doing these reading sprints to help you with your reading, but also what I'm going to be reading during these reading sprints are the beginning part, maybe the first chapter, like the first chapter tag of these books that I'm just not getting to on my TBR, and decide, maybe with your help and with the help of reading those few pages, whether or not I'm realistically ever going to read those books. Because if I'm not, I would rather move them off my TBR and make space for stuff that I'm genuinely excited about and genuinely want to read. I don't know how many of these I'm actually going to get through in this live show because I am a very slow reader. The vast majority of the books, I've already had a look at my list of physical TBR books and at my shelf in my bullet journal, and the vast majority of them are not available as audiobooks, so I'd have to read them physically, which is even more reason why I would have to be genuinely interested in reading them if I'm ever going to actually do it, because I'll have to read them physically, which will take me much longer because I'm such a slow physical reader. So that is the plan for this particular live show. Let me know in the chat what you're planning on reading during these reading sprints. That is my plan. I have, as I mentioned, kind of gone through and looked in I keep a list in my bullet journal. I'll just show you, of my library there, and I kind of colour in the books with the main colour from their cover once I've either read them, DNF'd them, or unhauled them. And this is most of my TBR, but some of my kind of, what do I want to say, like series where I've got kind of multiple books in the series, like The Wheel of Time, for example. I don't have all of those books on here. I just had kind of the first book, and that's it, because I have a separate spreadsheet, which I've shown you all before, that deals with my series. We're not tackling that today. That is a project for another time, but I did update it the other day and I'm not doing too badly. I think I'm going to do a kind of half-year stats goals check-in later on in the month as well. So Joanna, you're not going to read anything. What are you going to do in that case? And Angela, you're reading Bridge Kingdom by Danielle M. Jensen, which I have not heard of, so you will have to let me know what that one is about. So my plan was to load up a second screen on StreamYard from my phone. I tested this just before I went live and it was making a really weird noise. So I don't actually know if that's going to work, but I guess we can try. So I'm going to try swapping now between screens and let's see what happens. Okay. So I'm now on this second screen. So hopefully you can see me here. Hello. And I'm going to go over. It's not making the weird noise before. So that's all good. Important, your audio was also removed. Add yourself back and use the layout buttons. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my TBR shelf and pick off a few books for our first sprint. And you'll, of course, have to let me know if you have read any of these books. As I said, I did kind of pre-plan this a little bit, so I'm not completely taking ages to do this part in case it's super boring for you. So, excellent. Joanna says you can hear me through my phone. Hooray. And Angela, it's a fantasy romance. Yay. A princess is marrying a prince of another kingdom to kill him. I love it. I love it. That sounds great. Okay, so first off, we've got Damage by Eve Ainsworth. This is a contemporary with mental health themes and trigger warnings for self-harm. That one I'm actually pretty interested in reading still, but again, I'm going to see what the writing style is like. Then this one, With Malice by Eileen Cook, is a mystery, but it's a YA mystery. And I've been realizing recently that YA mysteries are very hit or miss for me. And I think that might even be kind of young end of YA. I don't know how many to pick off, maybe just 4 at first. The next one I've got here is After the Snow by S.D. Crockett. This is kind of a middle grade horror-ish type of book. Oh, that's really interesting. I'll have to see how it feels after a few pages.
And then the last one for this first sprint words is The Toymakers by Robert Dinsdale, hello, which I've also had on my TBR for ages. That's kind of the point. I'm not going to keep saying that. This one is historical fiction fantasy, kind of like the Night at the Museum, like all the toys come alive, I think, but it's also World War One, historical World War One or World War Two, I don't know actually. Either way, World War historical fiction, which doesn't often work for me. So I'm interested in this one. It does have a lovely cover, agreed. Yeah, I've kind of been interested in it in so long and I'm just not prioritizing it because of the historical fiction thing. That's the other thing about this whole process, is the whole point of this live show, is not just to see if I want to DNF them, but also to kind of make myself see that maybe some of these that I haven't been prioritizing, I might actually really enjoy. This one has high potential, also sprayed edges. Love that. So I think we're going to start with these four. Joanna, I will have to let you know. Well, obviously, that's the whole point of this. I will let you know what it is like. And I'm just going to see if I can now switch back.
To the other screen. There we go. And close that off. So you shouldn't now hear an echo or anything. I think it's going okay so far. So these are the four that I'm going to start with. I'll probably just try them out in the order that I picked them up off the shelf. Wow! Look at the margins on this. Those margins are crazy. No way. That's so weird. I've never seen margins quite as wide as that before. Any hoodle. So this one, chapter 1 will take us up to page, I'm just checking because I need to kind of try and guesstimate how long I need for this reading sprint. So that's 20 pages, but really probably more like 10 given how wide those margins are. Then with Malice is about 13 pages. Then After the Snow this one looks quite middle grade-y, is also 13 pages, and then this one's probably got the longest first chapter. I think that this is still YA, but I could be wrong. The first chapter is actually only 5 pages, or actually that's a prologue, but let's see how long the first chapter is. So that's about 20 pages as well. So let's see how far I can get by 1:15. So we're going to do a sprint until sprint until 1:15. So I'm just going to pop myself on mute so that you don't have to listen to my fan whirring. It is 32 degrees here in London, which is just so hot for the UK. It's just so hot for the UK, and my flat does not stay cool, and we don't have aircon in the UK, so it is quite warm, but it's okay. I have a fan, so we're all good, and I will speak to you again in half an hour. Okay, I am back. Put my glasses on so I can read your comments. Hello. So, okay, I've read the first little bit of the first 4 books, so let me run through them. Damage by Eve Ainsworth. I feel kind of mixed about this one. I feel like I would still enjoy reading the themes, but there's a lot of, even in just the first few pages, there's a lot of kind of teenage angst happening, and it's an angry teenager who's dealing with the loss of a loved one and turns to, this hasn't happened yet, but it's apparent from the synopsis that she turns to self-harm as a means of coping, and apparently the themes of self-harm and depression are dealt with well, but I just don't think that I'm going to connect to the character as an adult who suffers with depression. I feel like this particular experience is going to be too far away from my own for me to really benefit from it or find it particularly enjoyable, if you can really call a book like this enjoyable. But I can feel myself becoming irritated by this character, which will just make me uncomfortable given the subject matter of the story. So I don't think this one is going to be for me, but again, as ever, let me know what you think. Then next was with Malice. I actually kind of like the writing style of this one, and I feel like it's the kind of book that you'd need to read a decent chunk of to know whether or not you're actually enjoying the kind of mystery elements of it. But I was kind of pretty hooked already just from the first chapter. So, and I don't think I even read the whole chapter. I think I was already kind of satisfied that I do want to keep this one on my TBR. So this one is going to stay. This next one, though, After the Snow by S.D. Crockett, this one is definitely going to go. I do not like the writing style of this at all. I'll read you the first little bit. You'll see exactly what I mean. So chapter 1 starts like this. I'm going to sit here in my place on the hill behind the house, waiting and watching. Ain't nothing moving down there. The valley look pretty bare in the snow. Just the house grey and lonely down by the river, all frozen. I got to think what I'm going to do now that everyone gone. But I got my dog head on. The dog going to tell me what to do. The dog going to help me. The house look proper empty, don't it, dog? So I'm not going to go any further than that. I did kind of flip through to the middle a little bit, and it does continue with the same narrative style, which will drive me up the wall, frankly. I'm like the grammar police, seriously. So this would just frustrate me. I won't be able to read this one without just being really irritated the whole time. So this one's gonna be a no as well, unfortunately. And I don't like books that are too close to home, as I read to escape, so I stay away from books like Damage. Yeah, exactly. I read for escapism as well, and I enjoy seeing themes of mental health dealt with really well. Like, for example, one of my favourite characters ever is Kaladin from the Stormlight Archive, who suffers with depression like I do, and I actually find it really comforting to read from his perspective because I can relate to him so much. But I feel like maybe a book that is about depression might just be a bit too much for me. And then finally we had The Toymakers by Robert Dinsdale. It is set during the First World War rather than the Second World War. I said I wasn't sure which one. It is set during the First World War, and actually I think I might be interested in this one. I read just the kind of prologue-y type bit. It starts in 1917 for like one chapter, and then it goes in the beginning and jumps back to 1906. So I'm guessing it's kind of a prologue, although prologue usually happen in the past and then we jump forward in time. But anyway, not really relevant. The point is, I enjoyed the book. I was intrigued enough by it. I like the writing style fine. It's a bit weird. It's kind of the narrator talking to you, but I anticipate that the rest of the book probably won't carry on in that vein. No, it goes back into kind of proper third person narration from there. So this one I'm going to keep hold of and put back onto my TBR shelf. So that being said, I recommend Bridge Kingdom. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I want to read The Toymakers in Fall Winter. I think it would be a good winter one because what is it that it says right at the beginning? That it only, the toy shop that this book is about only opens around Christmas time. So it would probably be a good wintry read. Maybe I will read it around then as well. So I'm going to swap back over to my phone now and we can head back over to my TBR shelves to pick the next few books. I just pick 3 because I feel like 4 was a little bit much to get through in 30 minutes.
Okay. I am back on my phone here now. I've only just finished the first Mistborn trilogy, unsure which Brandon Sanderson book to go to next. Well, let me know first of all, in the chat, let me know if you liked Mistborn, and if you did like Mistborn, what was it specifically about Mistborn that you enjoyed, or what things did you like the most about it? And I will recommend where to go next based on that, because as you may know, I have read everything in the Cosmere now, apart from White Sand Volume 3, which I need to get around to. I just need to buy a copy because I can't really read those on like my Kindle or anything. I just find it really difficult. Let me know what you liked about it, and I will, if you liked it, obviously, and I will recommend where to go next. But for now, let us move on to picking the next 3 books. So the next one we're going to go with is a middle grade that I got in. Oh, I haven't turned off the banner. Hang on. I always do this. I always leave the banners up. 3. There we go. It's gone now. Okay, so middle grade that I got in a subscription box that I can't now remember the name of. Darwin's Dragons by Lindsay Galvin, which, as the name suggests, is about Charles Darwin and his apprentice and finding dragons on the Galapagos Islands. So that's that one. Loved it. Gave the trilogy 4.5 stars overall. Second book, dropped the half star. I love the magic system and companionship best. Okay, and then I'll take it from the dropping a half star for Well of Ascension that you weren't so keen on, like all of the politicking type stuff. Let me know if I am correct. If you enjoyed the magic system and the companionship, then I would recommend moving on to Warbreaker next. So this one is standalone, so just the one book. It's it's probably about the same length-ish as the Final Empire. Yeah, around 650 pages, so not quite as long as Hero of Ages or Well of Ascension. Well of Ascension is actually the longest in the trilogy, interestingly. This one follows 2 brothers, Ciri and Vivenna, and one additional character named Lightsong, and the magic system is really, really interesting. It's based on breath and colour and bringing things to life with your breath, and there's also gods who have been reborn from mortals, and there's a god king, an arranged marriage, a friendship group. This would be my recommendation of where to go next, and Angela is agreeing with me. Yeah, I think that's a good one to go to next. I would say you probably won't be as keen on Elantris because this one has more of the politicking type stuff. There's no siege in Elantris, but it is more political. So I would say probably Warbreaker rather than Elantris. So we've got Darwin's Dragons so far. Next we've got Maggot Moon by Sally Gardner, which I don't even know what this is about. It just has kind of a tagline that says, "A boy, a friendship, a lie, and some hard choices. The motherland is a world in which individuality and differences are crushed, but Standish Treadwell won't be subdued." So I have no idea what this is about. Let me know if you do. And this one is one that I only picked up recently. It's called Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. It says, like Katniss, love Ray, meet Amani. But I didn't realise at the time that I bought this that the author is actually white, and this is a Arabian-inspired fantasy, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. I've read the Gala Fire and Thorns series by Ray Carson, which I really, really enjoyed, but I just feel like there are enough of this kind of fantasy by authors of colour that I would probably prefer to prioritise those. So I feel like this, I'll have to just like be really into the writing style to want to read it. But I am interested in the book, but I think I need to just kind of give it a little bit of a go. Okay, you've enjoyed Elantris. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. And then, Angela, you like Rebel of the Sands. That's good. Okay, well, I'm going to try these three then, I think, next. And let's switch back.
There we go. That seems to have worked okay. I'm getting the hang of this, I think. But I am just going to look up quickly and see if I can figure out what Maggot Moon is actually about. I don't really like it when they put those synopsis on books that don't actually tell you what the book is about. It happens sometimes. It's really annoying. Maggot Moon by Sally Gardner. Okay, so Goodreads says 100 very short chapters told in an utterly original first-person voice propel readers through a narrative that is by turns gripping and darkly humorous, bleak and chilling, tender and transporting. What if the football hadn't gone over the wall? On the other side of the wall there is a dark secret, and the devil, and the moon man, and the motherland doesn't want anyone to know. But Standish Treadwell, who has different coloured eyes, who can't read, can't write, Standish Treadwell isn't bright, sees things differently than the rest of the train track thinkers. So when Standish and his only friend and neighbour Hector make their way to the other side of the wall, they see what the motherland has been hiding, and it's big. Honestly, that sounds kind of strange. So I think reading a little bit of this one to see is a good idea. Yes, exactly. I mean, I need to kind of have an idea of, is it, what genre is it? Is what kind of story am I getting myself into? I need something to go on. And I've read that synopsis and it hasn't really given me much more, to be honest. But Goodreads lists the genres as young adult, which is not a genre, science fiction, dystopia, historical fiction, LGBT, science fiction, alternate history, fantasy, and mystery. But that is kind of users have suggested those genre. So I don't know. Anywho, these are the 3 that I'm going to try out. This one I'm just not sure about because, again, kind of historical fiction, but it does have dragons in it. So I'm hopeful about this one. This one is going to either be I like it or I don't like it. So we'll see. And then this one, I'm just hoping to like the writing style because I really like the sound of it. But yeah, I'm just a little bit cautious about the types of books that basically, this is a very specific kind of setting, and I feel like an own voices story in this setting is probably better, but we'll see. So it's just past past. So let us read until the o'clock, I think. There we go. And I will pop myself back on mute just so you don't hear my fan, and I shall speak to you again in 30 minutes. Okay, I am back. And this one was a bit of a mixed bag as well. So Darwin's Dragons, I only read a few pages of. I definitely want to keep this one. It's kind of cute already, and there are illustrations on the chapter headers, and there's a map, and it just seems like it's going to be a really cute middle grade read that it's just enjoyable to pick up at some point when I'm in the mood for something kind of light, fluffy, and young. So I'm definitely going to keep hold of this one. Maggot Moon, however, is not going to be for me. I started reading it. I don't really get it. I did a little bit more research, and it's kind of a dystopian alternate history set in the 1950s following a dyslexic boy. The author is also dyslexic, but this time period, the protagonist is dealing with a lot of prejudice because of his disability, and there's also some kind of government conspiracy that is being unraveled, and I was a little bit confused by all of that, and so I looked up kind of a little summary thing online, and I was like, do you know what? I'm probably not going to read this book, so let me just read the whole, full summary, spoilery summary of the book, and then if it's the kind of book that sounds interesting, then I'll actually read it. And the ending sounds like it would really piss me off, so I'm not gonna read that one. And then Rebel of the Sands, I didn't realise, is a hybrid between Middle Eastern fantasy and a Western. And Westerns really are not my thing at all. And I also saw some reviews online that said that the Middle Eastern representation is quite generic and stereotypical and not particularly good representation, which is hardly surprising given that the author is Welsh, I think. Let me see. Does it say where she's from? I don't think so. Pretty sure she's Welsh. I mean, you would assume from the name Alwyn that she's Welsh. Anyway, point is, I'm going to keep hold of this for now, but I'm really not sure about reading this one. So, as I said, keep it for now, but we'll see how I go, and I might look into some more reviews and things for that one before I decide whether or not I am going to go ahead and read it. Hello. The Damned by Renee Adier. I started that one. I've read The Beautiful, and then I started The Damned, but I wasn't in the mood for it, so I popped it down for now. I will probably pick it back up later. 20 pages of The Eye of the World. Fun. Is that a first time read or a reread? So I'm reading Wheel of Time for the first time myself. If you don't like Western, you won't like Rebel of the Sands. Okay, noted. Thing is, I don't like Westerns, but then I don't dislike Westerns. I don't know. For example, I will happily read Mistborn Era 2, but the setting is just not my favourite. Yes, newbie like me. If you're not already, Jade from Bedtime Bookworm has a Discord for reading The Wheel of Time for the first time. It's called Watalong, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, Watalong is in W-O-T along. So if you're not already part of that Discord, then that's a really helpful place to get questions answered if you're confused about anything, because you don't want to be Googling stuff at this point. And yes, indeed, there will be, and it may be sooner than you think. Ooh. So I'll keep these two. This one is questionable, we'll see, and Maggot Moon is going. I'm not going to be reading that one. So let us swap back to my phone. For those of you who have recently joined the stream, and just by way of explanation about what is actually happening here, my physical TBR is full of books that have been on my physical TBR for quite a long time, and so I am using this live stream to pick out those books that have been either on my TBR for a long time or that I am not sure about for whatever reason, and read a little bit of them and decide whether or not I actually want to keep them on my TBR or whether I am really unlikely to read them, and therefore it's better to just get them off my TBR and make space for the stuff that I am genuinely excited about reading. So we're going to go and pick the next batch. Okie dokie. Yes, indeed. Exactly like try a chapter. Exactly that. Yeah. So let us see what we have next over here. Okay. So this one is one that I have been really interested in reading for a really long time, but I have heard some not great things about this author. So I already have this book. So, you know, I'm not kind of whatever. I've already bought it. So if I like it, then I will still read it and read the series. But if I'm not kind of like enjoying the writing style, then I might just like skip it because I don't want to support someone who's an awful person. And the next one is The Peculiars. This is a middle grade about some misfits trapped in a nightly Victorian sideshow, which just sounds kind of fun, but also weird. So we'll try that one out. Exactly. Ooh. Point system for curbing book buying. Tell me more. I am interested in that. Joanna, who was here earlier, but she's had to go. Oh, that's interesting to know. So maybe I won't test that one out in this live then if the beginning bit is a little bit tricky. Plus, that's often the case with epic fantasy. Is a little bit tricky to get into at first. I have this kind of deal with Joanna from the channel Joanna Sosa that I am only allowed to buy one book for every 5 books that I get off my TBR. I'm not going to count the ones that I'm like taking off my TBR today, obviously, but that is the system that I have been using recently. Lots of Red Sister Love. Yeah, I've heard it's really, really good as well. And the thing is, if I pick it up and I like it, then I will probably read the rest of the series, but I just like maybe won't buy the books and I will borrow them from the library, probably. The next one is Feral Nights by Cynthia Letitia Smith, which I actually have a good feeling about because I have read from this author before. I read her Tantalize series. That's the name of the first book. I'm not sure if it's the name of the series, but anyway, I'm going to put my phone down on my bookshelf. That's much better. Ooh, okay, awesome. Let me know when you've posted that so I can watch it. And the Tantalize series, if that's what it's called, I really enjoyed. And I think that this is an Indigenous author as well. So I'm pretty confident about this one, but it is also one that's been on my TBR for ages. So I kind of need a little bit of motivation to pick it up. So I'm going to test that one out. And then
we have Dramarama by E. Lockhart. And I've heard a lot about We Were Liars by this author, but I haven't heard basically anything about this. Oh, I didn't tell you what this one's about. This one is, it says, when Yoshi, a sexy, free-spirited werecat, traps his missing sister Ruby, he discovers that she's the key suspect in a murder investigation. So, gives you a little bit of a taste of what that one's about. And this one is YA contemporary at a summer drama camp, which just doesn't really sound like my kind of thing. So we're going to see how juvenile the writing feels. The other one left on this shelf that I was thinking I'm in two minds about, again, because the author apparently is not blessed person, is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. Now, I've been so excited about reading this book for so long. And then when I heard about the author, I was really disappointed because I'm still kind of interested in this book. But also, it's one of those series where I'm starting to get concerned about whether or not the author is actually going to ever publish any more books, because I think there's been quite a gap since Republic of Thieves was published. So I'm going to leave this one on my shelf for now. I'm not going to test it out in this video. But if you have read The Lies of Locke Lamora, let me know what you thought of it. These are all kind of quite quick YA style reads. So I might just add maybe another book to this round. Okay, I'm gonna add Killer Game by Kirsty McKay onto this round, which sounds really, really good, but I am just a little bit concerned that the writing is going to feel too young, because this is, as the name suggests, a kind of competition game-based story set at a boarding school, and that sounds really fun, but if the writing is going to drive me nuts, then I will never get to it. And it sounds really interesting, so I kind of just want to put to rest whether or not this one's going to work for me writing wise. So I think those are going to be the 4 that I check out in this next sprint. Angela enjoyed Lies of Locke Lamora, and Republic of Thieves has a stunning cover. They all have quite nice covers, to be fair. And oh, hang on, I'm dropping stuff. Okay. And is it Nick or Nikki? Please tell me. And Lies of Locke Lamora is on my 5-star predictions, but I haven't got to it yet. Yeah, see, it's been on my like digital TBR for ages and ages and ages. Probably since I started watching BookTube, which was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. And it's been on my physical TBR for about a year and a half, and I just haven't got to it. I've been on the hold list for Lies of Locke Lamora's audiobook at my library for, I don't even know how long, a long time. A really, really long time, like in excess of 6 months. Long time. Nikki, okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to swap back to my computer. There we go. So these are the 4 that I'm going to test out in my next sprint. And I mean, to be honest, this might be my last one actually, because it is now 9:15 where I am. So we're going to go until 9:45, and I have work tomorrow, so I might have to go after that.
but there is time to do one more at least. So let's go, and happy reading, everyone. Okie dokie. I am back. I see that Angela has now gone. So I missed saying bye. Sorry about that. Okay, take the banner down. There we go. This round went really well or really badly, depending on how you look at it, because I am definitely still interested in reading all 4 of these. This one is going to be kind of a funny middle grade kind of story. It's really short. I did have it on my TBR for the Olympics readathon in June, but I didn't get to it. But because it's so short, it is a pretty good one for a readathon. And starting it off, I'm pretty sure that I liked the writing style with the few pages of that I read. Ditto with this one. It was funny straight away. It referenced the other series by this author that I read, so I'm definitely still interested in picking this one up. And it sounds like it might be a little not steamy, because it's YA, so there's not going to be actual kind of sex scenes or anything, but I think it's going to have kind of that kind of vibe, you know, and I like that. 34 pages. Well done. Nice one. Dramarama. I feel like it is going to be pretty, like, vapid. Is that the right word? I might kind of get sick of it and DNF it partway through, but I don't know, something about if you don't know, my mum runs a dance school. I danced from the age of 3 until I was 18 when I moved away to university, and I did kind of singing, dancing, all of that stuff. So this kind of just takes me back to that time a little bit. So I don't know, it felt slightly nostalgic, so I feel like I want to carry on with it. And then this one starts off really intriguing. She's clearly being like hazed. Is that what it's called when you're like inducted into a society at university or whatever? Anyway, we don't have that in the UK, but that's kind of the vibe I got from this, and I already didn't want to put it down, and I was only kind of like, 8 pages in or something. Where was I? Let's see. Yeah, about 5 pages in. So that's a pretty good sign if I wanted to just carry on reading it. So this one is going to stay on my TBR also. So those 4 are staying on my TBR, as are the 4 that I discussed previously, and there are 3 books leaving my TBR. Those are Damage by Eve Ainsworth, After the Snow by S.D. Crockett, and Maggot Moon by Sally Gardner. So that means that I tried out 11 books. I kind of wish I'd done 12. That's really annoying. Anyway, doesn't matter. 11 books. 3 of them are leaving my collection and 8 of them are staying. So, I mean, I don't really have a conclusion from any of that, but the point is, I did this live stream to try and read some of the books, or read the first little bit of some books that I have not been getting to, and it's made me excited to pick up some, and it's made me realise that some are not for me. So I would say that this has been fairly successful. Yeah, I kind of felt like that as well, Nikki. I did read a recap online though. I can't remember where I found it, but I'm pretty sure if you just Google The Beautiful Recap or something like that, then you will probably find it, and that was pretty useful, and I felt like I was back on top of what had happened in book 1. So if you don't feel like you've got time for a full reread, then maybe give that a go. But yeah, I started The Damned and I clearly just wasn't in the mood for it, so I put it down because I didn't want to kind of push myself to read something I wasn't in the mood for and impact on my experience. So yeah, that is going to be it for this particular live stream. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this was enjoyable. If you liked it, then let me know, and maybe I will do one of these again at some point. It was quite a nice, easy kind of read. Easy kind of video to do a fun little live show. So yeah, let me know if you like this kind of thing. Read a recap for Certainty and Dove before I read Blood and Honey. So yes, I might try to find one for the Beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the same for Serpent and Dove before reading Blood and Honey, which I'll hopefully be doing next month. Maybe the month after? I think next month. Yeah, I think it's August I'm planning on doing that. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for coming along, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.